What up and what's going down, YouTube world? Good looking on tuning in. We at it again for another cool reaction video. So yeah, man, today video we gonna get into is the first gods and where we get the concept of multiple gods. So this is the Sumerians and what they believed in and who they gods was. So let's go ahead and get into the video. Here we go.
The ancient Sumerians worshipped many different gods and goddesses. They thought that the gods influenced much of what had happened to them in their lives.
I mean, ain't that religion though?
Babylonian and Assyrian religion was heavily influenced by the Sumerians.
Because they came afterwards, but
A god for each city. Each city had its own god. At the center of the city was a large temple or ziggurat built to that god. This was where the priests would live and make sacrifices.
so now if you notice this structure is similar to the structures that's found in South America, Central America, Mexico. And it's interesting when you think about it, like if the ancient Sumerians is way on the other side of the planet, how then do we have other civilizations building structures that's the same? Now either they travel from this region to Central America, and then the same people kept the same knowledge and they started building the same structures. But it's just interesting that all of these similar structures are found all over the world.
Some of the ziggurats were huge and reached great heights. They looked like step
See what I mean?
pyramids with a flat
I think this
top.
is in Central America, South America, or something like that. Central America, maybe.
Some of the Sumerian gods and goddesses included Anu, sometimes called An.
And he was the
Anu was the
father.
god of the heavens and the king of the gods.
See what's
The
crazy
city
is
associated
you do
with
these
Anu
he had
is Uruk.
parents or some shit, I guess.
Enlil, the god of
Enlil,
air,
Enlil.
wind, and storms.
I think he's the oldest son.
Enlil held the tablets of destiny.
He might be the oldest or the second.
These
Oh, I
tablets
don't
gave
know.
him control over the fate of
One
man
of them's
and
old.
made
I
him
think he's the
very
oldest.
powerful. He wore a crown with horns. He was associated with the city of Nippur. Enki. Enki was the shaper of the world, as well as god of wisdom,
He was the
intellect,
other
and
brother.
magic.
And so I mean, saying you see this
He
three,
invented the
this
plow
this
and was
thing with three.
responsible for making plants grow.
Like you got the father and the two sons, but in
He is
Christianity you
drawn
got a
holding
similarity
Zu,
to
the
like
storm bird.
the father and his son.
He was the
But
god of the
if you want to
city
consider
of
the Holy
Eridu.
Spirit the Trinity in Christianity, but
Utu,
who knows?
the
Maybe
god of the
Lucifer was
sun,
the other
as well
brother.
as
I don't
justice
know.
and the law.
Just guessing. Shit, I don't know.
Utu is drawn holding a saw-like instrument. Mythology says that Utu travels across the world each day in a chariot. Inanna,
Wait.
justice and the law. Utu is drawn holding
So his city was Eridu.
Utu, the god of the sun, as well as justice and the law.
So he was the
Utu
sun
is drawn
god.
holding a saw-like instrument.
That's what, 4 deities right
Mythology
there?
says that Utu travels across the world each day in a chariot. Inanna.
Inanna.
Inanna was the goddess of love and war. Her symbol is a star with 8 points.
And she got the spears hanging on her back.
Her primary city was Uruk, but she was also prominent in the city of Babylon. Nana. Nana was also called Sin. He was god of the moon.
Now, if you see the similarities between, again, if this is the first established concept of religion and gods, right? But all these civilizations that came after them that had these multiple deities that they worship. Now, even if you go to the Greeks and the Romans afterwards, they all similarly worshipped these deities, right? But all of these deities had these powers associated with the natural elements or something involving human emotions or human life, like the sun, moon, wind, waters. All of these gods are associated with these different elements, but they all follow, like I said, this tradition of this being the first. So is this where everyone gets that concept of religion, even the Egyptians?
His home
I don't know.
was the city of Ur.
Tell me. Now, see, the Babylonians, they
Marduk.
gods was based on the same thing, but they
Marduk
just changed the
was
names of the
primary
gods.
and had
Or-
Babylon.
Or if you read up on it with so many different gods, like if the father was On, and then the two oldest brothers was Enlil and Enki, and then you talk about if he had more kids, and it was like in the book it's like thousands of these Anunnaki. You feel me? So I don't know. Shit, it's just crazy that it seems like religion shifted from worshiping multiple deities to the singular deity. But if you count Jesus Christ, that's another deity.
With his pet dragon.
So I mean, I don't know, man. This religion shit is kind of,
God of the underworld.
it's all
Nergal was an evil god who brought
it's some
war
crazy shit.
and famine
Religion.
on the people. His city was Kutu.
But we gonna wrap after this one because man, this shit crazy, y'all.
Tiamat, goddess of the sea. Tiamat is drawn as a huge dragon.
So Tiamat is a dragon? Is it something that the gods ride on, or is it the dragon of God?
Asur, the primary god of the Assyrians. He was also the god of war and married to the goddess Ishtar.
Well, like I was saying though, the Romans and the Greeks had different names for their gods. So I mean, that shit crazy that
Ishtar, similar
Assyrians, Sumerians had the names for their gods. Babylonians had a name for their gods. Assyrians had a name for their gods.
Shamash, the Assyrian version of Utu. Enlil, the Assyrian version of Enlil. Same as Enki. The main religion of the Persians was called Zoroastrianism. It was based on the teachings of the prophet Zoroaster.
Now, I did a video on this too, Zoroastrianism, but this is considered the first monotheistic religion.
Ahura Mazda created the world. He was all good and constantly fought against evil.
Now, see, this is the concept where I guess Judaism
believed that good thoughts
and Christianity
would help to fight the evil. The Sumerian gods often had human characteristics, and that they were sometimes good and sometimes bad.
I mean,
although
are the gods all good if they punish us? I don't. That's what I'm saying.
Archaeologists have yet to find.
Who knows? Like, do we get punished by the gods?
They also believed in genies, demons, and evil spirits.
Same concepts as a bunch of all religions.
The god Shamash was served by a scorpion people, a combination of man and a scorpion.
What? See? Some alien, extraterrestrial shit, like scorpion people.
Floated
It's like it had what's a centaur, half man, half horses. That's some mythology shit.
Enlil was said to be so powerful that the other gods could not even look at him.
Well, how is
Greek mythology likely borrowed many ideas from the Mesopotamian gods.
See what I'm saying? Roman borrowed from the Greeks.
About the civilizations,
so
culture,
again,
geography, and people.
This shit crazy. Yeah, man. Yo, this video is crazy because, like I was saying, again, I don't know if the Sumerians are the first religion, because where did they get their concepts from? Where did they get their belief system from? Like these people couldn't have just popped up. So again, if they were the first to establish writing, though, and that's why they have those tablets that they found that have these stories in them, is because they based on the writing. And that's why they're giving credit for, again, establishing civilization. But without that writing, or without older writings, we don't know. But all I'm saying is, if they, and it's crazy to think that if you know about the story, or if you research the story, it's some crazy scientific shit that it would say, how would an ancient people just decide to make this up if somebody didn't tell them this story? You feel me? Like, because like where the Anunnaki came from, and them coming here to mine gold for their planet, something was going on their planet. They needed to mine the gold, and they had the Igigi come down here, and they was fighting with the Igigi, and then they decided to come to this compromise and create humans. Like, where would the ancient people come up with this concept and this story? You feel me? Like, out of the blue. Like some scientific shit that we ain't, you know what I'm saying, that we write movies about nowadays, and some aliens and shit coming down to Earth. But they had this in their creation story about other planets, and so it don't, and just thinking about that, it don't sound like it's some shit that some ancient people could have just made up. But yeah, man, y'all tell me what y'all think. Like I said, this is crazy, and this is where you get this I believe this is where you get the concept of the multiple gods and why they associated with the natural bodies around our planet and things associated with mankind. But leave a comment. I'll respond to the positive ones. Hey, y'all be cool out there. Again, I'm him, the King Cool. Peace. Speak money.